Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to the Guilt After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we're talking about Episode 5, The Eye of the Needle, and we're going to be speaking with special guest Cristian Solimeno, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I love how they always wait till the end of the episode or beginning to just have that nice song,
really great
that
song.
just pops out at you, right?
Oh, I was like snapping my fingers.
No, it's good.
Yeah,
we
let's
love
do
it.
it.
Music in the show is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
so
You know,
good.
the way it's shot and everything. So, hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to the Guilt After Show. My name is Gabriel Gonzalez. We have a huge episode, so we're going to get right into it. But first, you can follow all of us on Twitter. You can follow me at Double G on TV. And I have to my left the social media queen of the studio, Miss Becca.
Well, you make me sound very important like every time you introduce me. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
And our special guest, Cristian. Where can the fans find you on Twitter, Cristian?
Oh, what is that now? At Cristian Solimeno. Crisolymeno.
Yes, we should have the info on the camera too, so you guys can see that on the screen. And of
Very
course, Renee, I'm glad Emily Tremaine brought you back.
Yeah, thank you
I thought
so
she was
much.
going to keep you hostage like Neville.
I'm back, so she couldn't keep me for long. Hey guys, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Renee Ariel.
Yes, awesome. So, very fun episode. We have Detective
Amazing.
Sergeant Bruno here at the table, so we can't wait to get right into it.
Hello,
and
everybody.
Apparently, Detective Bruno
Hello, Renee's
couldn't
mum. Renee's mum is also
My
with
mom
us.
is
Let's
here.
put yes to the-
visiting from Massachusetts. She's here. Thank you for joining us today.
Yay,
Yes,
welcome.
you guys can't see her on screen, but she's our 5th member of the panel tonight.
You
Yes.
can feel the
Yes.
shift in the atmosphere.
Yes.
Charged.
Well, you certainly felt a certain shift coming off from last week's episode with Miss Natalie Atwood.
Uh-oh.
So, Detective Sergeant Bruno, we see, you know, the aftermath of what I'm sure was a great evening of conversation. You know, first
They
off,
talked a lot of philosophy that night.
I'm sure,
I think.
yeah.
I'm sure
It seemed like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got to,
like in the
you know,
morning. it seemed like that.
understood things in the biblical sense too, I'm assuming.
Oh,
So,
Gabriel.
I'm sorry. Hey, we all know it's the edgier Freeform now, and you
No,
threw your hat in the
PG-13
ring.
here.
We talked to Emily Tremaine. You know, it's just a sexier network now.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely is.
real
Especially-
quick, because they built up so much with Gwen, did you guys expect the Natalie Bruno thing to take off as quick as it did in 5 episodes? That they're really very connected now.
Literally.
I mean, I definitely saw chemistry, but yeah, it definitely moved quick. Already making breakfast for her, very
Right?
sweet. But I mean, it sucks because Natalie is a murderer, so it's just unfortunate.
Oh.
Well,
I like it. Me and him, we got the sound effects down.
Yeah. We
I-
do. Stereo. So hold on, let me just get it cleared up right now before we go any further.
Okay.
Who thinks who did it?
I think Natalie did
You
it
think
for
Natalie
sure.
did it, Becca?
I think Kaylee did it.
You think Kaylee did it?
At this point, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I've been sticking to Roz for the last few weeks, and I
Okay.
think I'm going to stand by that one.
I also think Gwen too, maybe.
Oh, well, hold on. You can only pick one.
Well, we don't know that. For all we know, you're trying to lead her off the wrong.
Or it could be
right
like Murder
track.
in the Orient Express, where we all did it.
Everyone did it. They all
Everyone.
hated Molly secretly, and they all killed her.
It was like a
That would be
team effort.
sad.
Yes, we were talking. We had your co-star Sam Cassidy on yesterday,
Oh, cool.
and we were talking about, you know, when you get the script, because we're told that you guys didn't find out pretty much till the very end.
Man, it was like the last second. They held it back, and like the heads of department, you know, they need the script so that they can buy the props that you need and get you costumes and all that stuff. So everybody else knew, but we didn't. So like they'd be kind of like letting things slip, going, "Oh, you're going to need one of these. Why? No reason."
But it,
It's like, why
That
does
kind of
my
stuff.
jacket suddenly have blood?
Yeah.
So,
Why the plastic sheeting? It's fine.
So one of the big questions was, we asked him, well, obviously getting the script and going through the process, you have your own theories about who it was. We were told that nobody guessed it right. For yourself, were you disappointed that you couldn't figure it out being on the show?
No, I wasn't disappointed. I was just like, yeah, this is just goes to show how great the writing is.
Oh,
You think if we can't get it from in there, then how the heck are you guys going to get it? You know, And that's the point, isn't it? You know, so every time something happens that makes you feel like the show's even better, that just makes you feel good about it. So yeah, I wasn't disappointed. And the ending is not disappointing. Like, I mean, that last episode, by the way, so we had like a screening. I don't know how much Sam told you, but we only had one screening during the shoot, and that was right towards the end. It was right towards the end, and they hired out a boat, and it was gorgeous and lovely, and we all sat down and we watched it. And then we got home late that night. The scripts came in, so they just kind of like, "Ding, you have mail."
Oh my god.
Like, oh no! And you know, it's 2-hour-long episodes. You're like, and you know, you got to get up for work, and like, oh, but I have to know. Oh, I'll just
Skip to the end.
I'll skip through one, and then you just like, and I mean, literally, and I spoke to everybody, and all of us had like so many moments. You cannot believe like the last 2 episodes. Like okay, so episode 9 like twists and turns like crazy, but when you get to episode 10, man, oh my god, it's insane. It is insane, and you literally, I mean, all of us were like, oh no! And when you find out, oh my god.
At this point, I feel like I'm so
can't
oh my
wait.
god. Chair.
I want to see these episodes.
Yeah, they're killer.
Becca, you had a question?
I just said that at this point I'm gonna like fall off my seat while watching at the end.
I was losing my mind that night. It was, and actually, then I was in shock. I hadn't realised how sort of invested in the world I was and all the characters. You know, I hadn't really noticed it happening.
Yeah.
But I felt quite decimated at the end. Like when I knew, I was like, how could you?
How? Why?
You know, what I think is so exciting, I think the fans are really seeing it. We've had, 3 actors now. All of them have been so excited about how it ends.
Yeah.
They can't believe it. And you know what? We're having the same reactions just as viewers. So
Just
the
watching.
fact that the actors are that excited about it, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think
I
it
know.
says a lot.
I'm
That's
so
really
excited.
cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought it was just me.
My question is, does any character get the killer like right? Predict the killer before it's revealed?
No, it doesn't really work like that.
Oh.
It's sort of hard to explain. It's very clever how they tie it all up. So like anything I told you about it would just start to give it away.
I feel like
Okay.
this is going to make our theories even crazier as the season goes on.
Yep.
Good.
But I still think it's Natalie.
Stirring the pot.
My theory changes every episode, so.
Well, actually, mine did as well. I kept thinking it was this person, and then that person, and this
Like,
person.
now this person looks sketchy, and last week it was
But
this.
also, don't forget, it's not just the who did it; it's a why did it. And
Yeah,
how did it.
motive.
You know, like what actually happened to her. Like we don't really know.
Yeah, someone has to have true motive to.
Yeah, but yeah, what happened? When did that? We don't even know really. They've got that little time frame like of time, but you don't actually know what that is relative to everything else that was going on that night. I mean, obviously, if you did, you'd know where all the characters were, and you would know. But yeah, so I mean, it's this when, where, how, why. But why is the big thing. Why?
Yeah.
It definitely is. I think one of the most fun things is we have these very mysterious characters. There are a lot of fun personalities, but then there's that predatory element, Sam described it as, on the corners of everything. And that's what I think gives the show its substance because, you know, we see Roz. She doesn't seem like the kind of person you can trust. Natalie apparently is someone we can't trust.
I don't trust her at all.
No.
She's too nice. Never
The-
trust the nice ones.
Yeah.
Theo, I mean, we only...
Gross.
Theo, we see him 2 minutes...
Frightening. Nice people
Yeah.
scare me.
We see the prince only 2 minutes a week, but we still think he could
Still
totally
feel
have
it's a little
done it.
guilty.
Yes, so...
I don't think he did it.
I don't think he did it either. He has like a short fuse.
Yeah.
He gets angry. Like, calm down, okay? You'll
That's why
find
he-
another girl.
Leave it. It's not worth
It's gonna
it.
be
yeah.
cool.
I mean,
That's true.
I guess money can't buy happiness, and who has more money than a royal? So
It's true.
yes, but
He
we're...
just needs a good therapist, I think.
Yeah,
well,
that would be helpful.
He had a form of that, but I think we're gonna get away from ourselves if we talk about it just
True.
yet.
I
Talking
think
into
he needs
mental health.
friends.
Or friends. Yeah, it's very important to have friends.
He's like alone most of the
He is
time.
really,
with
he
his
is quite a lone
bodyguard.
wolf, isn't he? And he's full of
Yeah.
secrets, isn't he?
You know, I
Yeah,
think we
I
should
know.
hang out with that
He's
guy
like-
Bruno. I mean, just kick back,
Yeah.
talk about how much they like redheads, apparently, and
But the bodyguard's an interesting character as well. I just
True.
want to say.
Oh no, he's
So like,
I
he's
think
creepy,
you
too.
I think by the end of it, you're gonna have an excuse to shoot that guy.
just saying.
Oh.
Things get interesting.
That's a
He
really
gets,
good theory.
He gets really involved.
Right,
That
so-
character
He's
grows.
It's-
already getting involved
Yeah.
at this point. And
Yeah.
Well, he serves as Theo's proxy a lot. You
That's
know,
it,
with Theo, we've only seen him really interact with Bruno a little bit, but the handler is the
he's
point
like, here,
person.
here's what Theo wants me to pass along.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say, like just regarding your point of the substance of the show, I think the other big thing that gives the show substance is Molly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
actually, even though she's dead, unlike a lot of these kinds of things, she's so in it. She's so present, and
Yeah.
you just find yourself getting to know her more and more and more.
Especially at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was so cute.
I know.
The little ballet scene.
And there's more things that kind of. I think that's the only scene quite like that. But there's a bunch of things that we run across. You know, you find evidence that you uncover new evidence, and it's like stuff of her, and so the characters are especially for me and Pike, you know, we're getting to know her as well. Like the characters knew her, but we didn't. And I think, you know, the audiences too. And I think that gives it a kind of heart, and that drives you to
Yeah.
really want to know what happened to this poor girl.
To
you know?
care about her.
Yeah.
It does. Well, you know, we obviously, it wouldn't be any fun if we just said, who killed Molly Ryan, and you told us that.
Yeah.
That'd be so
that
no
would,
fun, wouldn't
that
it?
would ruin
No, it would be a
everything.
TV show.
Exactly. But I do want to get into something that you can talk about because it kept us glued to the screen. Your scene with Miss Emily Tremaine.
Okay,
I
what
mean,
can I tell
we
you?
got it from her point of view, but for yourself, how is it just, I always ask, preparing for a scene like that, getting comfortable? Because
Well,
you have to be able to do your job, apparently.
I like to do a lot of research, you know, like a lot of actors.
What kind?
No, yeah, it's weird. Well, it's just nerve-wracking, you know.
Right.
You're just doing that stuff. It's kind of embarrassing, like just as you would imagine, and
Because the camera crew.
yeah, and just the whole thing. And it's sort of you're kind of like being intimate with someone in a way that you wouldn't ordinarily be, and
And you have the cameras,
It's
the
acting.
director.
Yeah.
It's the least romantic thing I've heard when scenes like that are shot.
yeah. And the director was this lovely guy, Larry Shaw, who's a fantastic director, and he's, you know, he had a great way of sort of like lightening the atmosphere. But you know, Larry's just kind of like, just get in there, just get your hands on her. Come on, man, make it happen. Come on. Oh, excuse me, dude, let's just get in there. Like, you know, so
You're
you know,
like, is this how love works in real life?
yeah,
wow.
so it was, but it was actually funny and a laugh. But yeah, a little bit kind of, you're kind of glad when you get those days out of the way. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Well, your chemistry is on point with her.
Yeah.
Great.
So-
Yeah, I mean, she's so cool, you know.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, I think one of the best compliments I feel like to receive from a female co-star when you do that, she said that you were just so great and just made it so much easier to shoot a scene like that. So I guess,
that's nice to hear.
I mean, what better compliment can you get? It's like, you
I
mean
can
that
think
was
of a
okay
few.
with you?
Best day of my life.
I'll remember it forever.
Step it up, Emily.
No, it was, yeah.
Yes. Well,
But that's interesting as well, you know, when you're trying to build chemistry, like on-screen chemistry. I don't think it's just about getting along with somebody, you know. You're really, both of us, we're talking about it, and we're just sort of trying to work out those moments to sort of get that feeling, you know, and asking ourselves, like, what is on-screen chemistry? What is that?
And it's weird because
know?
when you watch it, you know when it's there and you know when it's not.
Yeah.
That's it. And you're kind of treading this fine line, and you're kind of referencing all these things. Like, what movies do you what movies or shows do you think have got where two actors have got great chemistry?
Titanic.
Titanic.
Ryan Gosling.
Sure.
Just keeps
The
coming
Notebook.
back. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good comment.
Love them.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I noticed more chemistry on TV shows.
Yeah, that's okay.
So,
Yes.
Like what?
I think there was a lot in
I
this.
just watch Freeform shows.
I think there was a lot in this
pretty well lined.
movie. We Still Steal the Old Way.
Oh,
you know what? There was
There's
a
not much
lot-
chemistry in that. I tell
Yeah,
you.
there was
That's
also a
right
lot
old
of
gangster movie. Yeah.
There was a lot in Footballers' Wives
There
too.
was a lot of chemistry in Football as well. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a really fruity show.
I like live tweeting while I'm watching the episodes, and at one point during the episode, I tweeted out that they already act like a married couple.
Oh, really? Yeah, maybe that's part of what you're going for in a way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, we were trying to work out as well between a lot of us, like, what's the difference between Bruno's relationship with Gwen and Bruno's relationship with Natalie? You know, like.
I like Bruno and Natalie.
Yeah.
I think it's cute.
Oh.
I think you moved on really quick. I will say that. You were just with Gwen.
Is it about he chose a
Yeah.
redhead over a brunette and you take that personally
I'm just
somehow?
offended on behalf of all the brunettes. What was it?
Well, you know, in this world, everything moves fast, isn't it?
It's
That's
true.
true.
It is a
It
very
is true.
fast-paced show.
It's a hell of a fast-paced show. But when you get to the end of it, you understand why, because they've got so much ground they want to cover.
Well,
Well,
fast-paced and, like, it moves at the exact right pace at the same time, I feel like.
It doesn't
like, it doesn't
too
move
fast
too
when you're
fast.
watching it.
No, it's just very dense, isn't
Yeah.
it? There's like
Yeah.
there's so much in there, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
not
it's so
like
much
it's not
finding out.
zigzagging off in different directions. It's
No.
sort of like moving around through the world and back through the world, and it just doesn't sort of stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing feels forced, which I like. It just feels intense in the moment and like it should be happening, even though it's a lot of
It's
unfortunate
very
events.
organic, and
Yeah.
it leads to a lot of organic reactions because definitely, as Renee pointed out in studio all evening, Natalie and Bruno had a very great morning. However, it kept them away from the big situation of the episode,
Just
Grace
and her phone.
So we see her there. She's the aftermath. She's trying to get Luke out of jail. We saw only a little bit of Stan, which is almost disappointing,
Yeah.
just because he does steal the scene every time.
He definitely does.
But we got another golden nugget out of Billy Zane this week.
What was the nugget?
Or just the way he just shows off how well he is at performing his job as Stan Gunnery.
Yeah, it's such a great
He comes in and
character.
compliments the dress.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like right away, I'm like, okay.
But what does he say to Gwen, the crown prosecutor, and he says,
Yeah.
did I distract you from Candy Crush or
Yeah,
something
just
like that?
Candy Crush.
I love it. But so we find out
Smart
Grace
ass.
gets pretty much attacked by the paparazzi, coming out of the police station. And she's saved by a certain character who we got a glimpse of, but it was weird. I think that was one of the things that almost took away a lot of the tension of the episode, because I feel like we've seen the teasers that
in
he
the promo,
is,
yeah.
Right.
yes, that he is the stalker. Imagine if we hadn't have known.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would have added a whole other level of like
Oh,
suspense and
Yeah,
tension.
but
Definitely.
then the crazy thing, Grace follows him along. Renee, what did you have to
Renee's
say
face
about
the
that?
entire time.
Like,
You
did
didn't
her
like that,
parents
did you?
ever say like, oh, like don't follow strangers. If your phone's broken, go to a store that's not closed. That's not by this guy you don't even know. Doesn't even work. He's creepy. He's a creepy guy that saved you. But you should never trust him if someone's like, I can fix that for you if you follow me. Why would you be like, that sounds like a great idea?
But
Or lead the way.
I think that the way he played it at that point, like, I think he's got a sort of naive kind of charm about him.
Would
Yes.
you
That's what
go?
I thought.
I think that people, especially if they're good at killing or kidnapping, they're gonna play that. I mean, like, kidnappers aren't like, hey, get in my car, I'm gonna take you away. They're like, hey, I have candy. I'm really sweet, let's
Do
be
you mind if I
friends.
kidnap you?
Would you mind if I take you
okay.
into my basement for a few months? Like, that's not how it goes. I
Yeah.
would not trust anyone trying to take me anywhere. I would, unless they were like, hey, I know where the nearest cell phone store is in a public area. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll follow 10 feet behind.
Well, he did make it sound like they were going to a place like that. Oh, it's just at the shop. It's like, oh, so he's like a little Radio Shack kind of guy, maybe?
No,
Why not say the shop?
but isn't that the thing with Grace though? Is that she makes questionable decisions? You
Yeah.
know? And
Oh,
that's,
she
yes.
does.
and
all
that's
the
why
time.
you all the way through. You're like,
You're like, what are you doing?
well, not just that, but you're like, did you do it?
Yeah,
Because
all the time.
you can
you're
never
questioning that.
really. I feel like you can. I think just Daisy does an amazing job of creating this character where you feel like you're getting to know her, and then suddenly you go, "What?
Yeah,
Who are you?"
suddenly
Like,
you're
it,
like,
she sort of
"Did he
closes
do
the
it?"
door on you again, and that's for me. That's one of the things I like most about the show, that you never really get a handle on her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you could never really work her out, and she just feels the way she's positioned the character, and I think the way they've written her as well, is she's just a little bit ever so slightly kind of left of center, and it's just. I feel like that's what's driving all that stuff in the episode, and like, she's not like your average person. When they're in that room together, and like, look at what goes down in there. Like, that's extreme. Like, she's really extreme too.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think what's one of the most enjoyable parts of the show is you have all these characters like Roz and Theo, and the main character is one who we really just still can't pin down as far as did you do it, and I think that just speaks volumes about Daisy Head's performance.
Yeah,
Would you guys
definitely.
agree?
I feel like none of us think she did it at this point, but at the same time, we still don't trust her at all.
Yeah.
I always say when it comes to a murder mystery and you have the main character as a suspect, you're always looking for a reason why they didn't do it, and
Yeah,
the other
be-
periphery characters why they did. Just
you're
because
always
it feels
thinking
like
it's
it would
gonna
be
the
too
main.
obvious kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
I feel like that's what I learned from watching these kinds of shows. Like, whichever character the show tries to lead you towards thinking they did it, they didn't do it. So
Yeah.
But did you see
Always
that
get
thing
it wrong.
making a murderer? Did you?
You know,
I
heard of it,
didn't,
yeah.
but I heard
Well,
of
this
it.
is a real life thing, right?
Yeah.
And if you
Yes.
follow in loads of detail, it's so compelling, isn't it? But like in that show, you're sort of getting to know this guy who was convicted of something, and it was overturned, and then it's like other stuff comes up, and like did he and didn't he?
Right.
It's exactly the same thing. Like you're getting to know him, and you're like, oh, okay, well this doesn't make any sense then. And then you hear other stuff about him, and you go, well, why did he do that? Why would you do that? If you're innocent, why would you take these actions and do this? But the thing is that doesn't make you guilty just because. And I think that's the one of the things that makes it so compelling to watch Making a Murderer is that, again, you just can't. It's just like a person you can't really get to know, and then you're trying to evaluate the whole time. Like, is this a good person or not? And that's the thing. Like with Grace, you can't see where the center of her is ethically.
Yeah, you can.
Because she's quite
complex.
selfish at times, isn't she?
Yeah.
Oh
She
yeah.
is, and I think
And
that's...
she turns on the eyes.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
we always speak. She has those
Always.
large eyes that just... I hate to
They
say it, large
hypnotize
eyes
you.
that memorize,
Yeah.
mesmerize, just...
Hypnotizing.
Yes, like,
like,
you couldn't
oh, I
have done
feel
it,
so
but then
bad
they
for you.
change.
Yeah.
And then it's like, maybe you did.
Like that line, I think, last episode with the belly button ring. That really
Yes.
got to me when she was like,
We were talking about that before.
luckily, then I remembered that I got my belly button pierced. He's like, did you? And she's like, yeah, don't you remember? And then like dragged him off.
It's like,
I have too much to say
I'm like,
about her
was that a
toy.
question or a statement?
Yeah, right?
Or
Well, I think, when we talk about it, this speaks to probably the biggest theme of the episode is that we really don't know, how well do the characters really know each other? You had the great line, sometimes the people we love, we don't know them as well as we think we do.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of like the theme of that whole episode in a way.
Yeah.
And in a way,
Yes.
like the whole one of the themes of the show.
Yes, and so obviously we can put that as far as how well does Natalie know Grace, how well does Bruno know Natalie, knowing that she is obviously the sister of the possible killer. But one I really wanted us to talk about because I feel like it'll get lost in everything, Neville. So we know he was watching Molly. I think it's safe to, he's not the killer, even before Detective Sergeant over here disproved that. But do you guys feel like he may know important details, like we haven't seen the last of him?
Yeah,
yes,
100%. Because I think
he was spying.
the writers are smart enough to know if they throw in a stalker who didn't do it, then he has to know something because he's following this woman who got killed.
yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I feel like he's probably not going to reveal the killer, because if he saw who killed it, that would
No.
ruin the fun. He saw another character there I feel like they're going to reveal next week.
Yeah.
Who do
Yes.
you think he saw there? Like, around Molly that night?
Natalie. No, I don't know. My go-to is Natalie. I can't think of any. You know what would be really like this would if they saw Patrick. That would really. That would.
No, I was also thinking that during this episode too, because he does like let his anger really get in the best of
when he's
him.
supposed to be quiet, and he like slams his hands. He's like,
Yeah.
Shh. You're
He has
doing this in
some, he
secret.
has some
Like, calm
anger
down.
problems going on.
Yeah.
Well, I was
Just a
going to
couple.
say...
Understandably.
I feel like we're going to find out that, because he's such an anonymous character so far, but I feel like he's going to be the one to say, I saw Prince Theo there. And he's holding it a secret because he thinks no one's going to believe me. I'm just this guy who works at a tailor, keeps weird dresses and sock monkeys. And so I feel like that might be something we're going to see next week. That's my guess. He's smiling. I wish I
I'm
could
really
get
enjoying watching you guys
Maybe.
speculate.
I
I'm
wish
loving
I
it.
could get in between the ears and find out, but then that wouldn't be any fun again. And it's like, you know what? I really don't want you to tell me, even if it would.
No,
No,
this
I
thing
would
is-
never
this
want
bit is
that.
so
I want to
fun.
keep guessing.
Yeah, I want
That
to be
was
like
it.
at the end.
That was the thing, like when we get in the scripts here, like I was saying, it's just that bit, you're like, just as I was about to start reading, I thought, I almost don't want to read it now. Like, this bit's been so fun.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
keep
But wanting to
guessing.
know, like, when you're like reading a book and it's like you're desperate to finish it, but at the same time you're like, oh no, but then it's over.
Or like you're like almost there and you're like, I just want to know who did it, what happens already, and like try to
No,
go to the
it's-
last page.
It's true. It's like getting a book and you want to enjoy it, but there's that temptation to go to the last page.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like
I
said.
always have
yeah.
that temptation to go to the last page.
Which must have been nice
Bad.
for you because like you couldn't cheat yourself out of the surprise.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't have been able to not do it if you'd have had it. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I couldn't have that job.
Oh no, I don't really.
Yes. So you brought up Patrick.
Yes.
He had. I predicted this last week when we were talking to Emily that we're probably gonna see him. I was actually surprised, but then I think they did a great job of framing it, because I thought, Patrick, there's no way that he's going to be not affected by the fact that he found out what Molly was doing in her, free time. I thought, well, that would devastate this big brother. But then we see how much that protectiveness overrides what he learned, and like I predicted, he was going to get even more motivated than before.
Well,
come on.
It's.
You think that was just par for the course for Patrick?
Oh no, I think it's his sister.
Well, yeah, it's true. But so what did you
care about?
It creates other things for him where he's now got to work out how he feels about that, and he's got to sort of learn to know her again. He's getting to know her.
Yeah.
Like this is stuff he didn't know about her. He
Like
just saw her as a little
he knew
kid.
her.
Yeah, so him dealing with who she really was actually, and then living with the fact that he didn't care to know her in her life. And that is the big theme of the show, obviously, is guilt, and that's something that Kathryn and Nichole really hammered home to us when we were shooting. So it's like, if you look back over it all, you can see that the show's constantly looking at all the different kinds of guilt that all the different characters are carrying around with them. And I guess that's something for Patrick. Like it kind of exposes that. That he kind of wasn't there for her in some way.
Yeah, every character feels guilty about something.
Yeah, and they kind of are guilty as well. It's not just a kind of latent feeling, like we've all done stuff.
Definitely.
Well, it was definitely fun. I think Patrick can give Bruno a run for his money as far as being his little investigator.
Oh, he
Yeah.
should join the detective force.
I mean, he would. Hey, they are gonna find out who killed Molly Ryan eventually, right?
Hey.
So that would. Interruptions.
Maybe Patrick figures it out.
Oh, yeah, that's
Possibly.
See.
I mean, he
Patrick.
he's figuring out more than.
I don't know what's going on with my phone.
Stay out of this series. I think that Patrick did it. Shut up, Siri.
He seems to be one step ahead though of the detective, or probably actually a few steps ahead of the
please bring me
detectives.
In what kind of way?
What?
In what kind of way?
Just
because he
put
knows
this
My
about the
Wi-Fi's off.
Yeah, I feel like the
Why
club
can't
was
your
a
phone break
huge
my
clue.
Molly?
Yeah,
Like
that's a good
Grace.
thing.
And so
Break
going
it, go.
there undercover, I'm getting that list, and I think he's already steps ahead because it might be. I mean, I feel like it has to do with that club or someone going to that club, because it's hard to figure out what the motivation would be to kill this woman, and that seems like since it's in the show. And it does seem to complicate the lives of everyone a part of it.
You've known about the club for a long time, haven't you?
Yes,
that's
he
true.
better found out about it.
Well, I mean, I guess you have a good point there.
Turn off my phone.
Siri just won't be quiet.
She
Siri,
just wants
we don't want to hear your
moment.
predictions.
Okay, there you go.
Don't switch me off.
Right? Okay.
We don't care, sir.
Safe.
Yes.
There's no easy way to segue out of it, so I'm just gonna go right into it. Patrick gets saved by Kaylee after he gets the.
I like them.
Yes, that scene. I mean, it was so distracting. I don't know about
no,
you guys.
I like those
I
two,
think they're
though.
cute.
I think so too, but I want to
I
use
still don't
different
trust Kaylee,
words
though.
for her. Shh, don't talk about her that way. No, so what did you guys think about? Okay, very hot scene, but I feel like the implications for the characters. For example, we saw it later, a breakdown with Kaylee and Roz. See, I thought we saw just a little bit with how many secrets Roz seems to be hiding from Kaylee. But what do you think this does mentally for Roz? Do you think she kind of makes it worse for herself in a way? Or do you think she does a 180 and maybe tries to play more of the straight and narrow in terms of trusting Kaylee and revealing all of her secrets to her to rebuild that trust?
I think that if she gets in trouble for what Kaylee covered up, she's going to point the finger at Kaylee without hesitation because she's going to save herself before Kaylee. And I think that's what's going to end up happening because Kaylee made, a great decision for Patrick, but a bad decision for her and Roz. So I feel like that's going to come up again. She's going to have to throw Kaylee under the bus.
And are any of you guys following this Finch character? Like,
You know what? I'm trying to figure out where do I put him in the bigger picture.
where do you put him? I'm curious.
I don't think that he pulled a trigger on anybody, but I do believe that he did force the hand of one of our main characters in a way that we just haven't seen yet. I don't know if it was Roz yet, but I feel like that would be the one that seems most obvious, and that would be the only way I rule Roz out, is if somehow Finch was the one who was pulling a few strings to put Molly in a situation for whatever reason to sabotage the Prince Theo as a client.
I think Roz is one of those people who, at this point, is looking too guilty.
Yeah.
You know?
But
No,
true.
okay, yeah.
Christian, what do you think? No.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like-
Tell us.
You
What's
know,
your prediction?
I feel like his go-to answer is probably like, I think that Detective Sergeant does a great job in his investigation.
Yes.
well,
I
you know
mean,
what,
I think
though?
so.
So here's a weird thing though. At a certain point, I think it was around now actually. Someone said, "Oh, but you might have done it, right?" And I was like, "What?" No, I mean, oh,
You're like, maybe?
yeah. You can't actually know that you didn't do it. Like none of us could really know that we hadn't. That there wouldn't be a way that they would. That it would be
Rule
you.
out everyone completely.
Yeah, and then suddenly we were all kind of like looking at each other. Like,
Who did it?
oh, yeah.
Well, I think what I think we're setting up for, obviously, Bruno, we found out his secret. He once planted evidence in order to keep a very dangerous individual off the streets. Prince Theo and his handler are obviously aware of it, and
Which I don't see that as such a bad thing. I don't know.
well, in terms of like TV morals, of course he's a hero, but in terms of the law and the rules of the universe and the rules of the game, it could potentially take away Bruno's credibility. And then let's say, for example, one of the things I threw out, let's say you found out who the killer was next episode, and it was Theo. He could reveal the secret, and then suddenly it doesn't matter what you have, because
That's true.
Gwendolyn isn't even feeling that great as far as being in your corner right now, so suddenly his ability to do his
That's
job
very
is
true.
But
taken
not
away.
only that, as he points out in episode 4, you know, like if that comes out, then all of the people he's prosecuted, all of those
my
cases will
gosh.
come under scrutiny, and that's a lot of bad people that you put away that suddenly you've jeopardized. Suddenly they're out, maybe.
It's true.
Yeah, so it's from his point of view, there's an awful lot riding on it, you know, like. So,
I'm like
That's
deep in thought
scary.
right now.
it's good, isn't it?
I feel like that has to come
Yeah.
out then, because I
I'm very
don't
deep
know.
in thought right now.
I mean, I'd hate for that to come out, but I feel like that's definitely a possibility. I think what that shows, though, is how invested your character is going to get in this investigation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because clearly you go above and beyond
Yeah,
to
yeah, Bruno
put the
goes
bad guy away.
all the way.
To the point where he's risking getting in a lot of trouble himself.
Yeah.
How far will he go?
Well,
Probably far.
So, to wrap up real quick, Patrick, do you think it comes out that he has the book sooner or rather than later? Like, do you think next episode he's suddenly, being hunted down by Finch, or do you think he gets to hold on to this a little longer?
I don't know, because I don't think I think he got the information he wanted. Maybe he'll hold on to it just in case there is information in that book that has nothing to do with Molly and Prince Theo, but something else he like completely overlooked, didn't think about, so he put it away, and then later on maybe he'll have to go back to it. But I think at this point he got what he needed from that book, what he thought he needed, just about who Molly was seeing.
Was with. Yeah.
You agree?
I think he'll be chased down.
Well, see, what I find interesting is that all he knows is that Gentleman 33 is the one who essentially was exclusive for Molly. He doesn't know yet that we learned that it was Prince Theo, so how does he get more information? I think Kaylee once again, and that's probably going to deteriorate more of the Kaylee-Roz relationship. So I think we just got to see how it plays out, but I feel like maybe he gets one episode to keep the book. I think we're on 5. By 7 is when I think Kaylee gets in danger, and suddenly Patrick has to become a major player in the situation in the coordinate. Do I say? Am I saying that right?
I think that's right.
It's almost one. It's like, can they spell that somewhere?
Yeah, right.
It's so fancy and it's so sleazy.
6 is, I think, one of my favorite episodes actually.
The promo looked really exciting and intense.
Because like what happens, you see, is like each director's got 2 episodes, so often it's like they're kind of building up to their climax, so their kind of block, and so that's really what happens in episode 6. A lot of what happens Hero 5 is building up to all this stuff that then pays off in 6. And also they're very aware that this is the midpoint of the series. So
Yes.
it's sort of like some big stuff happens in 6.
So they get you hooked.
The gears have to
On
switch a
5.
bit to
That's
get
it.
ready for the finale.
And it really does. Like there's a really, I won't say what it is, but there's a really big thing happens in 6.
We're gonna be more than halfway through next week.
But that means it's more exciting. We're getting closer to it.
yeah, but
I like don't want it to be over, but I really want to know who
I just,
did
I
it.
just want to
Right.
say everything changes next week.
Oh my gosh!
Just saying.
Can we get a dun dun dun?
yes,
Oh wow.
We're very fancy here.
Ask and you shall receive. So,
We'll get $1 million around here.
can you get two,
That too.
two of those, please?
Yes, to
Three.
go.
please.
Oh man.
So I want us to get through the conclusion. So we see, Daisy Head show off more of that excellent acting. She really just kind of finesses Neville. He totally would have loved you. And then, just we see a little bit
Psycho.
of
She's
blood.
a psycho.
That was psychotic.
Yes.
Like that was a
what I'm
complete
saying.
switch in front of our eyes.
And I think in answer to your question, like, well, why are you doing this? We're doing this because this is that person.
Yes.
She's
Well,
insane.
we see what we've been suspecting all along, that she does have enough edge to her. Does she have, is it sharp enough to kill? No pun intended. I think we're going to find out, but we know that she's not going to be shy away from causing harm to somebody. Maybe.
Oh no, I thought that she was actually gonna kill him for a second.
But I wasn't ready for that.
I was
just
like, is she
yet.
gonna get arrested for killing someone? Like, for actually killing someone?
I think that will convolute everything too much. just
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would have been interesting.
Did you think that
in a
Bruno was
sort
going
of
to
way.
frame him?
I thought you
I
were.
was thinking, yeah.
Just because your personal motivation, I think, out of a lot of the characters is very concrete. I don't know if it was your moral ethics or your logic that said, wait, well, they'll easily figure out it wasn't Neville because he's left-handed, as you pointed out. Or was it Bruno just saying, I can't frame this innocent young man, even though he is very obvious?
I think Bruno's whole thing, is that, I know this might sound a bit crazy, but I think like he can handle framing somebody that he thinks is guilty. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Because it's worked before.
I
Yeah.
agree.
You know
When-
what I mean? And I don't know, but I think that's maybe something that kind of happens in the world where cops are put in positions where they just know it's this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where where they're vulnerable to a kind of temptation to do something that's kind of not right ethically, but that's a really hard choice to make then, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I think at that point where it's like, okay, he didn't do it,
It's true.
and that
Well,
changes the balance of it.
Now I'm gonna be watching for everyone who's like left-handed versus right-handed.
I know. I was
right.
even
I'm
watching
gonna be
that
like,
towards the
I
end.
have something else to like. I'm gonna go back through tonight and rewatch the episode.
Would love to
Write down the
know.
Right-handed,
righties and the
left-handed.
Will you
lefties.
tweet me what you find?
I feel like we're going to find out all the main characters are right-handed. And
Everyone's gonna be right-handed
Yeah, it's
aside
gonna
from
be-
Neville.
it
Yeah,
takes it away.
gonna be great.
So we saw more, Daisy or Grace just gave that one final chilling moment where Luke and her, they are keeping a secret.
Oh yeah.
And we all want to say it's a camera right on Renee right now.
Luke just bothers me to no end. His character.
Hey, baby.
He's like the worst boyfriend. He's like, oh, but you understand my paintings. Like, stop. Like, meet someone else. My favorite line in this episode was when Stan said, meet other guys. Some may even have
Some who have jobs, yeah.
That was so funny. Like, seriously, though.
Tell
It's
her.
true. So, okay, yes or no, real quick, do you think they're talking about, who killed Molly?
No, I think Luke is too stupid to like have a secret
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah.
I think it's a little smaller. But then again, I mean, she was like babying him up a little bit to be like it's just our secret, right? Like she wanted to see him. She wanted to make sure he didn't like spill the beans on something.
She treats him like a 5-year-old.
She does. She's smart. He's not.
She keeps him on that leash. That every
Yeah.
time he thinks he has too much freedom, just come back.
Come here.
She.
Yeah.
I can't find the word right now, but
so much I want to say.
We're all gonna know. And
Because
then,
next week you get to know a little bit more about him.
Oh,
About what makes him tick. And that's true of all the characters bit by bit. It kind of things come out and you start to go, oh, that's
Like,
That's
here's
what
another
motivates
reason.
that kind of behavior, or not just to do with that, but also just as characters, they just go chkung. They
You
suddenly
guys-
flesh out a bit more. So that's a big one for Luke next week.
Oh.
Do you guys think that Molly insulted one of his paintings and he got really upset?
There you go.
Oh, that's
That's it. I kill you now.
That's it. I figured it out, guys.
Don't like my blue painting.
I think she did do that, but he didn't kill her over it.
I still think going back to episode 1 that it was really a horrid time for him to like be throwing
Disappear.
red paint on
Oh.
the
Oh,
canvas.
I mean, can you look
Like-
more guilty?
What?
Yes. Well, you know,
Bad color choice.
we can't wait. You know, before we get into some predictions, as Renee, can you do your best Luke impression one more time?
With the painting one?
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, she understands me the most. She loves me. Do not get my paintings. He's the worst. He's the worst. He's that guy that your mom's like, don't date him. He's an idiot. And he's going to like live alone by himself, painting forever, never have a job. He probably doesn't shower that often. I'm not a fan of Luke.
So,
Christian, do better,
But
Grace.
he's the bad boy, isn't he? You know,
Yeah,
that's
but like the
thing.
annoying, like emotional man when he's like paint his feelings. You know, like that guy.
That
Like
hey
blood.
baby.
Like,
I
oh,
was
like
gonna
someone
say-
died. Let's paint the blood.
Christian,
Yeah.
Sam Cassidy told us we have to ask you about all the accents you're able to
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Yes.
How do you grade Renee's accent of
I
Luke
like it. I think it's
Pascal?
really good.
Good.
I think it's really good.
You heard it here.
Yeah,
Make sure you guys record that. Thank you.
Yes.
I was gonna say, how does one go about learning them as a job, and can you show off a few of the ones that you're particularly good at?
Oh God, no! Because you sort of okay. So the way that you tend to develop accents, a lot of actors develop accents, is that we just muck about with each other all the time. Like we just, I think a lot of people do this anyway. You know, you're just playing around all the time, and you're just going in and out of different accents, and then bit by bit, you're just working them,
Right.
and not learning to articulate switching between them and all that stuff. So it's out of play. I think a lot of oh, sorry, what's that? And I think
It's
a
all
lot
good.
of what we do as actors is kind of play.
Yeah.
But hence, then it's really difficult to just do it like
A drop of a
yeah.
hat.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
alright.
think
Well,
I'm
you-
sure I would suck if I did it now.
I was gonna say you
Yeah.
have shown off a bunch of them tonight,
Yeah.
just with
Oh, really?
us.
Yeah, well,
But
you accidentally do them, don't you? But yeah, to do them like on purpose, that's kind
Hey,
of...
I feel like nothing's worse than like some Americans trying to imitate British accents.
You know,
I
yeah.
love those
Can,
accents.
can you give us a few
I could do
tips?
some of those.
If I wanted to be an actor on British television, I obviously have to change my accent. What are some tips? What are some things I should learn how to say properly if I wanted to do it?
Well, it depends. Do you want to be? Do you like Downton Abbey and
Do you
stuff
have an
like
audition?
that?
Yeah, maybe.
so you wanna
I
be
need
posh?
tips. Yes.
So to be like so there's different like levels of posh.
Okay.
So I would say posh, and a quite posh person would say posh,
Posh.
but a really posh person would go bash. Posh. Bash. It's almost. I mean, I'm exaggerating to the point that it's not actually real, but it's like the mega posh accent is so different from everything else.
I was gonna
my
say
Bash.
Becca, you want to try?
No.
Renee, I think you have the best one again.
So it's like posh,
Push.
posh.
Push.
I'm already
got
bad
it.
over the accents.
Yes, then you get a little like this.
So just like don't open your mouth too much. That's not.
That's very
even.
true. A lot of people do that. That's
Oh,
sort
just
of
don't open your teeth.
You're good at the whole French thing.
Oh wow, thanks. That didn't. I don't like Luke, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, what I find hilarious, you guys watch our Facebook Live, is how well Sam Cassidy imitates Kevin Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
does he?
that is
did.
I haven't
Very
seen
well.
that.
I mean, if you close your eyes, you could honestly say, like, you could have been the role of Patrick.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
I'd love
does
to hear
it
that.
so
I think
well.
I'm going to see him tonight, so I'll.
Oh, that,
Ask-
yeah, let
Yeah.
him. Tell him we said hi because we
I
saw
will,
him the
I
other
will,
day.
I will.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of time left. So right
For
before we wrap,
predictions.
yes, real quick, can we get our AfterBuzz TV predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we've discussed it all night. So I just want everyone real
Go.
quick, just who's suspect number one now after episode 5?
Natalie,
Sticking to it.
she did it, guys. Mark my words.
Okay. Yeah.
Kaylee, because I'm going back to Gwen saying like you can't underestimate jealous girls.
I'm gonna go with Roz because I think that Finch now maybe was pulling the strings and forced the hand, and we finally have a motive behind why it could have been. Christian, nah, I can't do that.
Yes,
too.
and Christian, what's your prediction?
But I'm really interested in the fact that you guys haven't changed through all of this.
I don't.
Everything we've discussed, all we've been through together.
My belief is that my prediction is like on the Titanic, you stay on until it sinks. And I don't just say that because Billy Zane is on the show. By the way, every person has had a Billy Zane Titanic story, pretty much, and I find it hilarious that they all have something original.
How do you mean?
Okay,
what
Kevin Ryan told the story that his houseboat started to sink.
That's true, yeah.
Sam Cassidy has told us about how he was on a boat with Kevin, and it was Zane's, and Zane put a coat on the girl, and he did the line about the diamonds in the pocket. And then Emily Tremaine had a scene where the window was fogging up, and she did in front of Billy Zane the hand. Yeah, on the window.
Yes.
So I mean, do you have one you want to
I don't. Sorry.
Oh man,
next time.
Next time. No, it's all good.
I'm gonna
We
get
expect
one.
one next time.
Yeah, now
Yes.
that means you have to come back.
Season 2.
See you next time.
Well, season 2 has to
story.
happen.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into episode 6 next week, but real quick, I just want to have everyone introduce themselves one more time. Where can we find you on Twitter, Renee?
Hey guys, I'm Renee Ariel, and you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Renee Ariel.
Detective Sergeant, where can we find you, sir?
On Twitter and Instagram, they're like the same, are they? Like,
I believe.
yeah.
Close
Okay,
enough.
so that's Cristian Solimeno, CRISOLIMEN.
Like, I think I can spell my name.
And the social media queen.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV. Also, check out our interview with Sam yesterday on Facebook Live.
Yes, and as always, you can catch me on Twitter at Double G on TV. Have a great night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.